everybody, in this video I have a scrapbook process to share with you with the Thompson's Craft Supplies design team. If you haven't seen what I got in my August design team kit, then I will link that video for you. And today I am scrapbooking some pictures of me meeting my friend's little baby girl for the first time, and I thought that the pastel-y colours of the Mintay Dreamer paper pack would go really well with that sort of theme and all the lovely florals and everything. So I started off just playing around with the papers and choosing which one I wanted to use for the layout. I was torn between these two that you can see on screen here, but I thought that one that has the two window panes or window frames in it would be perfect for this, because there's two photos that I'm using. They're kind of the right shape as well for those backgrounds. So yes, here I am just getting all my little ephemera pieces and stuff ready, and I'm going to start off adding some stamping with this butterfly stamp, which is from AB Studio. I'm stamping that with Stays On ink in Stone Grey, just so it's not as in your face as black, and I'm just going to add that in areas where I know it's not going to bring too much attention to itself, but just adding some little bits and pieces to the background. Obviously with these kind of papers, these Mintay ones, where like there's so much going on and it's so beautiful, you don't really need to do a whole lot. I mean, quite frankly, I could, if I wanted, just really stick those photos down and that be it, but I like playing around too much to do that sort of thing, but it is an option. So I'm taking here some Lindy's spray in saltwater taffy and just sort of doing tiny little sprays of that in the area where I'm going to add my photos. And then here I have smooshed some Distress Oxide in worn lipstick there on my mixed media mat, added some water, and then I'm splattering some of that colour on there. It was the perfect colour to go with little baby Eva's socks, so that's why I chose that one. You can't actually see it very well on camera. Actually, it's a very, very subtle colour once you mix it with water. And then I'm doing the same here with Distress Oxide in Dusty Concord, so very much pinks and purples for this layout. And then I decided actually the splatters really weren't showing up at all, so I would just really lightly dab my brush in areas, kind of getting a watercolour sort of effect, just adding some more colours, kind of going over that butterfly as well that I stamped, which sort of toned down the darkish grey colour a little bit. And then, you know, there's just going to be more colour and mixed media and stuff coming out from behind the photos. Then some more splatters, this time Distress Oxide spray in Wilted Violet, which goes with these papers just perfectly. Like seriously, if you get your hands on this paper pack, you need to get yourself some Distress Wilted Violet, because it's just beyond amazing how perfect the colours are together. And then some more splatters with Distress Oxide spray in Victorian Velvet. So again, continuing with my pink and purple theme and using different shades of those colours. Have a little clean-up session there, and then I've just put that aside to dry while I do some fussy cutting. So this again is from the Mintay Papers sheet, so I'm going to fussy cut a few bits from this sort of cut apart or fussy cutting sheet. And then also, I don't think I do it on camera, but there's another paper that has lots of floral clusters on a pattern paper, and I also fussy cut a few of those to use as well. Some of these pieces, they are quite difficult to fussy cut in places. I find it easiest personally if you do the fiddly bits first, cut the fiddly bits first, and then cut the bigger bits, because if you cut the bigger bits first, then you kind of have less to hold on to while you do the fiddly bits, if that makes any sense at all. Anyway, that's my method. And I also, you don't have to cut right against the pattern. I almost always leave a little white halo, and then if you're not fond of those little white halos, you can just go over them with ink, which is what I'm going to do in this layout. So for directly back in the photos, I'm going to use this cut apart sheet here. One side has the cut aparts that have like a really patterned something on them, like an image, and then the other side are the frames. So I'm using the frames here, and each one has sort of like a peeled paint window or mirror frame or something that I decided would work quite nicely. It just sticks out side of the photo, just so you can see a little bit of it. I also distressed those with a distressing tool, and then went around the edges with Wilted Violet Oxide, again just keeping in with that whole theme, using a lot of Wilted Violet in this layout, just so everything sort of ties together and matches and everything. And then each of those are going to be propped up on some craft foam. I did cut down my photos a little bit as well, you saw, and what I did is I cut down one of them and then held the other up like behind it and then cut around that one as well, so they were the same size. Obviously I could have cut them together, but then I wouldn't know what I was cutting off. Like I might cut off my hand or the baby's feet or something, and that wouldn't be ideal. So anywho, on they go there. And then I'm gonna play around with all my little fussy cut bits and pieces, decide where I want to put each piece, and then I am going to bring in some of the Scrapbook ephemera as well, which I've forgotten the name of the ephemera pack. Morning something, I think. The correct thing will be down in the description box. It always is. Yeah, bringing in a couple of those. Some of them I cut down a little bit because I do have quite large white borders, and then as well I just took the Distress Oxide and quite heavily went over it where there was a lot of white space on the elements and stuff, just to, you know, really tones it down, or tones the white down, and just brings everything together. And yeah, so every single little piece has the wilted violet around it, and then all of those just getting stuck down with some Nouveau tacky glue, which I really need to buy some more of. I keep forgetting. Must order some more. Running dangerously low over here. I used to get it in the range, and my local range have stopped doing it, so it's very upsetting. Anyway, let's tangent over. Any of the fussy cut elements that are going sort of part over the photo, I'm going to use tiny little foam squares underneath them just to make sure they're level. So like that flower basket there and that blue flower at the bottom of the top photo, just, yeah, as I said, to make everything nice and level. And I think I'm just, I decided I needed to just bring another colour in because it was kind of all getting lost together, so I've just added two of these really, really pale yellowy orangey flowers as well, but again with the oxide around the edges to, you know, so it matches everything. But yellow and purple do look stunning together anyways. So for my title, I've just grabbed these stickers. These are from an old Maggie Holmes or Crepe Paper line. I think, I've forgotten what line they're from, but I bought like 3 packets of these stickers because I love them so much. So I added the title, then a couple of these little hearts as well to add a little bit more gold in there. Here I'm looking at all my Nouveau drop swatches to decide what colour to use, but before that I'm going to add quite a few splatters of Heidi Swap Colour Shine in gold, because I'd added those gold thicker elements. I just needed a little more gold on the page as well, so those are just going all around the photo and embellishment areas. And then I think once I've got those splatters down, I am gonna add my Nouveau drops, and I chose, oh no, I'm not, totally forgot about this. I thought some phrases and little tiny words would look good at the top and bottom of the page, so I picked 3. I think I've totally forgotten what they say, and again around the edges with the oxide of those, and then just 1 at the top and 2 at the bottom there. I think it just balances it out nicely, adds a little more interest to the page, stuff to read on the page. And then I stick those down with the tacky glue as well, because quite frankly they're not very sticky. The Tim Holtz tiny word stickers, just, they're not, you always need to glue them. And then I decided to use the Nouveau Stone Drops in Pink Granite for my little extra last bits of embellishment, because they are such a lovely texture and the colour went so beautifully with all these lovely pastely yummy colours. And I think with that, yes, this layout is complete. So thank you so much for watching. I will leave links to all the things that I have used down in the description box. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Check out the Thompson's Craft Supplies links and the Thompson's Craft Supplies blog, which will all be down there. And yeah, okay, I think I'm done. Thanks again. Bye bye.